Welcome back, everybody. Today is going to be a meta update, including 7.36C, and then what the meta has settled into, given that it's had about a week to play out. So first, let's go ahead and quickly review 7.36C, just to see, what Valve was cooking, so that you guys can get a general check in, like, what was broken, why did they nerf it, etc. So real quick about the items. They nerfed Arcane Blink, they nerfed Arcane Boots, they nerfed Phylactery, they made it so that Meteor Hammer no longer gives as much mana regen amp because heroes like Storm are buying it for only that reason. Items like Radiance that were making Brewmaster and Lifestealer really powerful got nerfed. And then items that were hardly ever bought, like Phantom's Province, Silver Edge, basically got minor buffs. But for the most part, we're just seeing little tweaks of like, burst damage was a little bit too powerful. Heroes were snowballing a bit too much off of mana regen, like Storm Spirit. The Arcane Boots is now noticeable. Arcane Blink. A lot of targeting on heroes that were able to spam non-stop spells as like the overall approach to this patch. So first, we're going to talk about the biggest losers of the patch. So first, we got Dark Willow, which most notably, her Bedlam is no longer castable on allies. If she wants to do the damage, she has to get in there. Her win rate is still above 50%, people, but it got hit pretty hard by a few percentage points. Next up, we got Lifestealer, whose Corpse Eater literally got nerfed in half from +2 to +1. His win rate went from 55% to 51%. Once again, these heroes are still decent, but they got hit pretty hard. And we also have Tinker, whose defense matrix is now a basic dispel instead of a strong dispel, and they also had nerfed all of his items like the Arcane Blink, so rip in pieces. Tinker had his week or two where a few people had figured out how to beat the game with him, and that's about it. And lastly, on my screen, we've got like the two minor losers, but they were very broken. They got the Voodoo Festeration from Witch Doctor, who lost a few percentage on his win rate with this just because of the 50% to 25% reduction. And then for Weaver, he just received nerfs in all regards. On the facet everyone was taking, a little bit of damage on Geminate, and then a little bit of mana on Sakuchi. So overall, you're seeing like Weaver was just generally too strong, while all these other heroes were too strong because of very specific reasons that have now been taken away. Now, for some of the biggest buffs of the patch, Phantom Assassin, very, very generic, but base damage by 2 and starting evasion by 5%. Her win rate is now above 50%, so keep in mind, PA might be making her way back into the meta. We all love her. We all miss her. Not really. Next, we have Sand King, who I think was already underrated because people were playing him too much with like the Ags old build that just doesn't work anymore. But Dust Devil got significantly buffed so the Sandstorm catches up to you faster. But then they also just made Sandstorm do 15 more damage, which used to be what the Talon was. So now with the Talon, he'll be doing 110 damage per second. I think the Sand Shroud facet is still better, but I'm still eyeing Sand King. I think he's going to be making a comeback. Mark my freaking words, people. Another hero we've now seen risen into the meta in high tier pubs that just started coming out because of the patch is Wrath of God from Sven, which just increased his base damage by 5. The hero scales better with this facet than he used to, and they're making his early game that much better. And for one last shout out for all the buffs out there, they really want to make this time zone in the zone work because they have buffed it significantly several times now. Higher radius, higher cast range, higher attack speed. Goes through BKB, still countered by Boots of Bearing, but I believe in you, Faceless Void. One day you will be in the zone. Time zone! Now that we've looked at the patch and looked at some of the biggest winners and losers, we're going to jump into what the meta in pro level pubs is. But before we do that, we're going to hear a quick word from our sponsor that allows me to bring all of this entertaining content to you for free. Let's go ahead and check it out. This video is brought to you guys by a Team Liquid partner, Thorn, a company whose ambition is to empower individuals to live longer, healthier lives through scientific, personalized testing and solutions. As a gamer who's also focused on having a healthy lifestyle, I have begun to use Cinequil. Cinequil supplies the brain with nutrients necessary to fuel the nerves and support neurotransmitter production. It has a nice orange flavor and mixes in seamlessly with the chocolate protein drinks that I consume daily. You can find this and much more at tl.gg/thorn. And if you sign up, you'll get 20% off your Thorn orders. Don't hesitate, get yours today. So welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sitting through that with me, as what we've got here is the detailed stats. You're looking at a bunch of numbers here, but we're going to draw some attention to a few crucial ones. So first and foremost, every hero on here has a higher win rate on Radiant. So if you're wondering which side is favored, some heroes only have like a 1% difference, like 54 to 53 for Faceless Void, while other heroes have as big of as 8% difference for Enigma. So every hero favored on Radiant. So know when you load into the game that if you got Radiant, you've been handed a free handicap. So next I thought was an interesting stat is this stat over here, which is Expert, which says win rate is based on players that have at least 10 matches on the hero. So I thought that's really cool. So like when you look at the win rate difference, it's like 55 to 58. So it's like 3.5%, right? 3.5% here as well. This one's 5%. So I was actually thinking about this where you look at Bounty Hunter, 7% difference. You look at a hero like Tiny, 8% difference. So if you're ever kind of wondering, like, you know, how much competency do I need to have on this individual hero? Like, how generic is this hero? How much specialization do I need to have? I'm going to pull up Weaver. Look, 52%, 63%. So overall, some of these heroes have pretty big discrepancies between their win rates if you've played them a lot in the current patch, while others not so much. And that's going to maybe help you know, like, oh, Enigma, he has a 10% win rate difference when it comes down to like difference in mastery or not. So be really wary of like which heroes you're embarking on. And you can use this page, which is just dota2protracker.com/meta/7.36c to kind of see like, oh, gather some relevant information. This is something I just saw that I think can really help you guys know like which heroes are worth learning, and how much you're gonna have to put into them if you want to learn them effectively. But now that we've quickly looked at that, some cool little tidbits I had never seen before, let's just talk about the win rates of the heroes, because these are all very similar heroes to what we were seeing before. So keep in mind, this is based on the Dota 2 Pro Tracker rating, which is a combination of how many games the hero's been played and what their win rate is. So Darkseer just feels like overall the best offlaner right now. We talked a bit about it in our previous meta update video. The hero just sets up waves, has multiple different builds, but most notably, he becomes like the Grease pipe guy most of the time. And now he just has a ton of base damage in lane because of like the way his innate works and the fact that he can just build bracers. So a hero that used to always have a weak lane now has a strong lane. Need I say more? Ember Spirit. The snowball effect of this hero has just gone way up. Both of his facets are situationally very strong. The double slide gives him extra damage procs on like Maelstrom, while the chain gang gives him extra catch when he doesn't want to have to commit into the middle of the fight against like high damage, high stun heroes. Wind Ranger, on the other hand, just like it's a universal right clicker. Broodmother, universal right clicker. Like we even see Wyvern up here as a universal right clicker. Like a lot of these universal right clickers, if we can make them happen, you know, there's always going to be like 2 or 3 per patch, I feel like, always. So it's really good to consult this page of like, oh, what are the universal right clickers that are being made viable right now? For Wind Ranger, I think it's because a lot of heroes are going Gleipnir still, despite the nerfs to the item, and Wind Ranger is one of the best Gleipnir carriers in the entire game because of Focus Fire, and it also gives her a little bit of extra HP to maneuver fights. Same with Ember, loves going Gleipnir. And then a hero like Wyvern, I honestly like haven't seen too much of it, but I think counter initiation teamfight is super strong if you're looking at the heroes that are in the meta right now. A lot of burst, a lot of teamfight, a lot of like need for save or like to break the fight up, and I think that's why Wyvern's probably rocking such a high win rate. So if you're not seeing all of these super burst heavy team fight-esque heroes, then maybe Wyvern's not going to be the one for you, because if you're looking at like Storm Spirits in your bracket and stuff, then Wyvern's probably going to suck. But if you're dealing with a lot of legions and axes, which are often like lower MMR heroes, Wyvern might be the hero that steps it up as a core support, because you look to counter initiate that single target burst. So when we're looking at like supports, we're seeing a lot of roaming supports. Like Weaver's actually predominantly played support. He likes to run around the map a lot. We're seeing Tiny, we're seeing Bounty Hunter, we're seeing Tree, a bunch of like melee guys, and Weaver, who's pretty much like a melee guy running around the map. And we have to keep scrolling down before we really see any ranged guys. Like Willow, even with the nerfs, still rocking 51%, but we're not seeing very many range supports. Like range support all the way down here, range support all the way down here. So you start to see them down here. So it looks like there's creme de la creme melee supports up here, and that seems to be the meta right now. There's just a lot of get up and go, a lot of constant team fight. It still feels like the map, since it didn't get changed at all, is just still the whole get items after 15 minutes and just run at each other. And if one team can fight the other and the other team is stuck running, the map just gets consumed so quickly, and the games are snowballing so quickly as well. I'll be honest with you guys, carry feels pretty bad to play right now. If we see one thing about all of these top heroes, is there's like technically 2.5 carries. Like that's pretty much it. And even Wind Ranger's getting played as a carry because carry feels so bad to play right now. So when you're playing carry, I feel like just having a reliable start, like Ursa has decent laning phase with his innate and builds into Battle Fury, while Faceless Void has like pretty reasonable sustain. Weaver, Wind Ranger, just really strong ranged guys. Like look at how far down we have to go. Like we're finding some of the more melee strength guys that have some durability. Monkey King with a strong laning phase. Like where are all the other carries on here? Like, you have to scroll down so far to find any of them. It's weird to think that Chaos Knight, based on rating, is all the way down here, but you see that he's still rocking a 51% win rate. So at the end of the day, it's like, it looks pretty much as a melee strength or like melee bruiser, because like Monkey King and Ursa, yeah, they're agility heroes, but they're like up in your face, really strong traders. Monkey King also has like flex potential to other core roles and support roles. So when I look at the carry meta right now, it's all like sustain guys, because Faceless Void also a sustain guy, whether it's agi or strength, but most of the strength guys are the ones with regen. So carry, like I said, I feel like you just become utility, like some sort of stunner from Faceless Void, Alchemist, Fen, and your goal is to just get out of the laning phase, because so many heroes right now are just meant to kind of hunt you down and kind of ruin your game. Like, look at these, you know, Darkseer creates so much pressure on you. Broodmother's the same thing. Tree, like, walks up behind you through the gate and ganks you. Bounty Hunter 2 is going to hunt you while you're trying to, like, recover in the jungle. Enigma's one of the hardest offlaners to lane against. I'm happy for you guys if you don't see Enigma in your games, because this shit's so freaking toxic when you're against a good Enigma player in lane. And this just really feels like the meta where you have, like, SFs going Blink Yules. That's like the most popular build right now. You have a lot of Spear Breakers still rocking a 52% win rate in the melee roaming category. So what is the meta right now? I'd say high tempo, snowball. Carry's job is to get out of lane. Offlaner's job is to like push in the lane constantly and boot out the carry. That's what we're now seeing. Axe and Legion and the likes have been nerfed pretty much to the point where we no longer see them anymore, like in my games, and they're also just not on this chart because they're not getting picked very often and their win rate's not high enough to like compensate for it. But then like the three offlaners I see, Darkseer, Broodmother, and Enigma. These heroes are all like, I'm just going to out trade you, and eventually you're going to be stuck jungling, and then we either have really strong team fight or really strong area control in the case of Broodmother. So if you're looking to win the game as an offlaner, what this patch is basically telling you is boot the enemy carry out of lane, farm, build items for your team, and then take over areas on a hero like Broodmother. And so you're playing for this more map control game, less of a more like classic standard offlane play. Like even Enigma offlanes are going like Drums and Vlads before like the Blink BKB. So it's like really paying attention to what you guys are seeing in these top tier heroes. It's not as much about like, okay, BSJ, I understand you're telling me these are the top tier pubs. This is what I should expect to see. But like, what is shaping the meta right now? What is the popular strategy? What is the general role of each role in the game? Carry to survive the freaking laning stage. Offlaners to pressure. Mid laners to be some sort of like snowballing hunter, like an Ember, an SF, a Wind Ranger. Supports, melee roamers that pressure with these active mid laners. That's pretty much the summary of this meta right now, and you're seeing it in all of these heroes. So you guys are probably feeling some of this in your games, and you know, there's no better time than now to like get ahead of the meta, because even if these aren't the super popular heroes in your bracket, knowing that this is the optimal strategy, if you're able to play it properly, then you will just have a leg up on everyone else around you. So that's my wrap up for meta update for 7.36C. What I would like to say to you guys is that I'm going to be in Riyadh for the next 3 weeks doing the Riyadh Masters as an analyst. Please feel free to check me out on the stream, as I will be on for the next 3 weeks. But I do plan to release meta update / tournament update videos once or twice a week, just to kind of keep you guys posted with what professional Dota is doing and any cool little tidbits that I'm learning along the way. So stay tuned. That's the type of content you'll be getting in the next 3 weeks. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the ad stream. Bye-bye.